Good morning. I am Stephen C., and you are at Steve O'C's on TikTok. It is 11 a.m. Central Time, Thursday, May 1st, 2025. April is now behind us. And remember, April showers bring May flowers. So we're looking forward to spring really taking hold. I'm here every day at 11 a.m. Central Time, and I am reviewing the Course in Miracles, the lesson for the day, and a corresponding text. So you can find me here every day at 11 a.m. Central Time if you miss the live, or if you would like to catch up on some of the episodes, the previous 120 lives that we have done. You can go to my YouTube channel, also search at Steve O'C's, or you can go to my account and my profile. There is a link in the profile to the YouTube channel. Lots of good information over there, good vibrations, good discussions, a lot of great information about the Course in Miracles over on that YouTube channel. And one of our subscribers, I think, is here. No? Yes? No. Welcome, Cindy. Welcome, Dee. Hello, Linda Lou. Hello, Shamrock Banks. Welcome. Please remember to like the live. If you stick around, if you like to discuss spiritual subjects, contribute to this conversation, please leave your comments. Any comments, metaphysics, esoteric subjects, all comments are welcome. And let's get started. There's a lot of good information available in lesson 121 today, and also the corresponding text. I like to begin every live by reading the introduction to the text, the introduction to the Course in Miracles, as a grounding exercise, so that we can become centered and also understand exactly what it is that we are doing here. So the introduction to the Course says this is a Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Very succinct, direct, and straightforward statement about what Course in Miracles is about. This entire book, which is composed of 3 different sections: a workbook, a text, and a manual for teachers. The Course points out that giving and receiving are one, that teaching and learning are one. All things being equal, there are no differences according to the Course in Miracles. So the entire Course in Miracles is set up to help us recognize that we are operating from a split mind, from a split consciousness. We are too heavily invested, if you will, in the left hemisphere of the brain, and need to slide over a little bit and integrate the right hemisphere brain and help them to begin to become conscious of them working together in union. And so from a dualistic consciousness or a split consciousness to a unified consciousness or a consciousness of oneness. And this is not just a bunch of words, as Hamlet says. It's not just a bunch of words. Turns out that as we practice the Course in Miracles and begin to adapt to and adopt the thought system that the Course is advocating for, we begin to, our consciousness begins to change. And so the Course identifies itself as a course in mind discipline and mind training. We have taught ourselves incorrectly because of the fall in consciousness, because of the fall and our living in the three lower chakras, if you will, if you want to use an Eastern metaphor or Eastern symbolism or teachings, and we use them all, even though the Course in Miracles is presented in a Christian framework and uses Christian terminology, of course, the perennial philosophy, ancient wisdom, mystery school teachings from whatever tradition, from whatever region of the planet, they all have a large number of similarities. They're all talking about the same things. So the Course, although it doesn't say it directly, it calls it the ego mind. The Bible calls it the carnal mind. Saint Germain calls it the outer personality. Eastern philosophies say that the three lower chakras. Okay, we are trapped in our lower chakras. We have to move through the heart chakra and up into the upper chamber, the upper room, the mountaintop, 5, 6, and 7, the upper three chakras, and then the other 5, which are beyond the body, but we'll leave that alone for now. So we're recovering because we have taught ourselves, because we have not purified ourselves individually and collectively through the heart chakra, because we have not forgiven. Okay, we operate out of the three lower chakras: survival, sex, food. And those energies have not ascended. Those energies have not moved up the spine. We have not become Christed to any large degree or collectively. And so, Course in Miracles is teaching that very thing indirectly, it says. It says the Holy Spirit, which is God's representative within our own consciousness, wisdom, or the divine feminine, Sophia in Greek, Sophia, wisdom, the divine feminine, leads us back to the Father, to the source, to our Father's house, or we begin to shift our consciousness from the left hemisphere to the right hemisphere of the brain and integrate both halves of our brain. So, that being said, there's a lot to cover today. One lesson per day with the Course in Miracles for 365 days. Today, Thursday, May 1st, we are on lesson 121. We have just completed a 10-day review of the previous 20 lessons. And so today, lesson 121 says, forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. The Course has a special definition, a very specific definition for forgiveness, which says we can only forgive parts of an illusion, because actually in time and space, in this dream, in this simulation, in this illusion, nothing has really happened. True creation, the mind of God, has not changed. Creation has continued in the mind of God. We are thoughts in the mind of God. And our co-creation with God has continued. So Abraham Hicks will say, everything you could ever imagine or want is sitting, waiting for you in your vortex. The Course in Miracles says the same thing with different language. It says creation is complete. We have already accepted the atonement. Salvation is already complete. Nothing has changed in the mind of God. So, however, we find ourselves in an impossible situation. We have painted ourselves into a corner spiritually. So it says forgiveness is the key to happiness. Giving up our old thought system, renewing our mind, overthrowing or dissolving or undoing, as the Course says, the ego mind, carnal man, the lower mind, transcending those energies, ascending into higher energies and higher thought. So here is the answer to your search for peace. Here's the key to meaning in a world, that seems to make no sense. Here is the way to safety in apparent dangers that appear to threaten you at every turn and bring uncertainty to all your hopes of ever finding quietness and peace. Here are all questions answered. Here, the end of all uncertainty ensured at last. So our lives are uncertain. We seem to be operating under a rubric in which we don't know what's going to happen next. The surprises and the unexpected incidents and experiences of life tend to the negative, it seems. The car breaks down. I lose a job. My relationship ends. My wife wants a divorce. All those types of things. We seem to be operating in a negative vibration. And the unknown creates fear in us. And we want to flip that situation so that we understand the unknown, the future that is being created from this moment of now is positive. It is bringing us gifts from the source of the universe, from the creation of the universe. We are healing. We are strengthening our peace and love. Uncertainty becomes certainty. We know what's going to happen next. We are moving from glory to greater glory. So that's the idea. And it has to do with forgiveness. Forgiveness is the key to happiness, the pursuit of happiness, right? If you're from the United States of America, our Declaration of Independence, right, says the pursuit of happiness is in it. I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it and enjoy myself, okay, and accumulate all the good things of life from the inside out. The most important things being peace, happiness, love, a feeling of fulfillment, the kingdom of heaven, all those intangible and invisible virtues and characteristics of the self. I want to cultivate those, understanding that that is a reflection of heaven. And in a like manner, I will then reflect out into the external world, my external world, those virtues, and the unexpected will no longer confront me. I will understand that only wonderful things are headed for me, only greater glories, only greater successes, only more certainty. That's what's headed my way. The unforgiving mind, however, is full of fear and offers love no room to be itself, no place where it could spread its wings in peace and soar above the turmoil of the world. Right? So that ascension, getting above the world, is a transcendence, a rising up, a lifting of the vibration, the internal vibration of consciousness and feeling. The unforgiving mind is sad, without the hope of respite and release from pain. It suffers and abides in misery, peering about in darkness, seeing not, yet certain of the danger lurking there. I like the chorus when it describes the ego portion of the mind. So that paragraph and this next paragraph are descriptions of the ego portion of the mind. And we want to be honest with ourselves and realize that very deep in there in the subconscious mind, in the corners, in the shadowy corners of our mind, are these feelings, are these ways of looking at things. Thank you for the like. Sav, thank you. Please remember, you can like this live. You can share this live. You can follow this account, all those good things. You can also subscribe to this live and help to support it. Please leave comments. Also, all those things help the algorithm, help distribute it, and help other people find this channel, this live. So we talk about spiritual subjects, metaphysics, esoteric subjects, all those good things. There's a lot of good channels and creators on TikTok discussing these sorts of things. So let's get ourselves and our community to begin to focus on what we should be focusing on: the truth, the reality of the situation, not the unreality, not the illusion, which a lot of people promote and a lot of which we see on the screen. And it looks like one of the subscribers to this channel, one of the supporters, is here, Mary. You can see she gets a little tag by her name that says sub. That means she's a subscriber, and so she's supporting this channel. Just recently became qualified to accept subscribers and survivors. So join in the fun, become a member of the team. And for a very nominal fee, you can help support this daily transmission. So thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Good morning, Mary. Good to see you. So we just heard one paragraph, the description of the ego mind. Here, the unforgiving mind. So the lesson for the day, which you can find online, by the way, at ACIM.org, CourseInMiracles.org online. We're on lesson 121 today. And forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. But now, in this paragraph, we are listening to a description of the unforgiving mind, the voice of sadness, the voice of despair, gloom, and doom. No. So listen to this. The unforgiving mind is torn with doubt, confused about itself and all it sees, afraid and angry, weak and blustering, afraid to go ahead, afraid to stay, afraid to waken or to go to sleep, afraid of every sound, yet more afraid of stillness, terrified of darkness, yet more terrified at the approach of light. What can the unforgiving mind perceive but its damnation? What can it behold except the proof that all its sins are real? So, this is the choice we get. That can be our state of mind, or we can cultivate a different state of mind, a state of mind that reflects the truth, a state of mind that reflects heaven. This state of mind, this consciousness, this integrated, coherent, vibrational feeling is within us, deep within us. So we have to develop some sort of practice, some sort of spiritual, meditative practice, something that will allow us to sink down into the truth, past all the clouds of confusion and fear, the Course in Miracles says, all those dark clouds, to the light, to the peace that is within ourselves, that abides deep within ourselves, to the joy that is within ourselves. Oh my gosh, another paragraph about the unforgiving mind. It sees no mistakes, but only sins. Okay, mistakes can be corrected. Sins, sorry, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. God has placed a black mark in the book of life next to your name. And that's it. No presents under the Christmas tree for you. No soup for you. The unforgiving mind sees no mistakes, but only sins. It looks upon the world with sightless eyes and shrieks as it beholds its own projections rising to attack its miserable parody of life. It wants to live, yet wishes it were dead. It wants forgiveness, yet it sees no hope. It wants escape, yet can conceive of none because it sees the sinful everywhere. And again, the unforgiving mind, wow, it's really hammering home. We have to be honest about this, right? We have to look within us. It does take a great deal of effort, discipline, determination, a strong intention to look within, to admit our character defects, right? The things that are troubling us, and begin to examine causes and conditions of our state of mind. And our culture, the authorities of our culture, we've abandoned these sort of things. So there is, I have to admit, a dark and nefarious force which does not want us to find the light. Now, that force is not outside of us. It is deep, deep within us. Again, it is collectively deep within us. Excuse me. And so it seems to be sort of a great force, a large force, but remember, the universe is balanced. And the forces of light, the energies of love, whoever you may choose to call them, ascended masters, the Brotherhood of Light, any of these sorts of things, the Galactic Federation, right? All these names are names for the balance in the universe that, by the way, just has enough to defeat those nefarious forces, those dark forces, okay? You can't, darkness can't win. Nothingness can't win. The only reason nothingness, darkness, seems to have any power is because it's stealing power from the light, or the light is handing power over to the darkness, illuminating the darkness, right? You go into with a candle into a big warehouse, right? It will only illuminate the 10, 12 feet around you. But if you flip on the big floodlights that are up above, the stronger lights up that are up above, the entire room will be illuminated and the darkness flees, right? Okay, so more about the unforgiving mind. And it looks like this is the last paragraph. The unforgiving mind is in despair, without the prospect of a future which can offer anything but more despair. Yet it regards its judgment of the world as irreversible and does not see it has condemned itself to this despair. It thinks it cannot change, for what it sees bears witness that its judgment is correct. It does not ask because it thinks it knows. It does not question, certain it is right. Okay, so that materialistic attitude, that scientific attitude, right, that tells you, so everyone has not woken yet, Mary says. I don't think so. I mean, it's in all of us, but do we recognize it? And if you're honest with yourself, it just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. That expansion gets larger and larger and larger. So Socrates, for instance, says, the more I know, the less I know. The more I know, the more I know that I don't know, is what Socrates said. So the more enlightened he became, the more he realized he didn't know anything. Because as the mind begins to expand, you can begin to feel, as the consciousness expands, you can begin to feel just how vast and deep God's mind is, right? Then once you get on that track and you realize, oh, this is what eternity feels like. This is how eternity operates. I get a little taste. I understand what's going on a little bit. Then I realize there's so much more I don't know. As Donald Rumsfeld, the former Secretary of Defense, said, in the early 2000s, there's known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. There's the unknown things we don't even know about yet. Or, as Hamlet said to Horatio, I'm paraphrasing now, there's many things in earth and heaven that your philosophy, you have no conception of, my friend, as they stood there in front of Hamlet's father's ghost, as they stood in front of an energetic apparition, as they witnessed vibrationally, as they saw into another dimension and held a conversation with Hamlet's dead father. And as they're kind of shaking in their boots, these two friends, Hamlet and Horatio, Horatio says, what the heck is going on? And Hamlet says, brother, you have no idea. We have no idea. So, yes, forgiveness. Forgiveness is necessary. And it says here in the course, forgiveness, the change of mind, repenting, right? Asking for forgiveness, asking for a change of mind is acquired. It has to be worked for. Yes, it is not inherent in the mind, which cannot sin. So the difference between a mistake and a sin: a mistake can be corrected, a sin cannot. A sin is an idea you taught yourself. Forgiveness must be learned by you as well, but from a teacher, capital T, other than yourself, who represents the other self, capital S, in you. Through her, you learn how to forgive the self, little s, you think you made and let it disappear. Thus, you return your mind as one to him who is yourself and who can never sin. The I am, the Christ consciousness. Whatever we want to call, whatever you call that portion of yourself, that is a part of the mind of God. Father is in me, and I am in the Father. Why callest thou me good? Why are you guys looking at me? It's not about me, Jesus told the disciples. It's about the Father within me. It's about the energy within me. It's about the quantum field. It's about the divine feminine. Yes, that's what he was talking to them about. The entire structure of it, a false structure, was built around those teachings. Okay, it was captured, it was colonized, to also use the vernacular. Those teachings were colonized. They were usurped. They were stolen by the Roman Church, who was busy conquering the world at the time. And they needed a unifying religion that sounded sort of like all the other religions that were around at the time. And so they came up with a grand plan, which has been operating for the last 2,000 years, which has been operating throughout the zodiac of Pisces. And now that we are at the threshold, now that Aquarius is here, the whole vibe, the whole expression is changing. The entire internal constellation, the constellations within us, are changing. And so new energies coming forth. So this is how we practice forgiveness, right? This is a great lesson, 121. Go check it out. Or, as my friend Mary does here, go watch it again. Go listen to the YouTube replay of this lesson and let it sink in. Each unforgiving mind presents you with an opportunity to teach your own how to forgive itself. So now it's talking about the people, the situations, the things we see outside of ourselves, with the caveat that as within, so without. The inside and the outside are one thing. So even as we send our gaze outside of ourselves, it says it's an opportunity to teach me how to forgive myself when I see unforgiving thoughts and words and actions outside of myself. Each one awaits release from hell through you and turns to you imploringly for heaven here and now, right? That's why we like when the trolls show up on this live, right? Because they are awaiting release from hell through us, and they are turning to us imploringly for heaven here and now. That's why the trolls are here. They're looking for some manna from heaven. They're looking for a little soma. They want a little juice, right? They want a little bit of the vibe, and they don't know it. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. So we're talking about forgiveness today. We're talking about the contrast between the unforgiving mind and the forgiving mind. The mind of acceptance, the mind of openness, open-mindedness. Not closed-mindedness, telling me what is and what's so. Instead, as we go through the Course in Miracles, what we're doing here on this live, on this channel, is asking for comments, contributions to the discussion in order to enhance, in order to help us expand, in order to help us see the connections between many of the other teachings that people are familiar with, right? So this universal curriculum does show up everywhere. So through the comment section, through people commenting, it is illustrated to us. We get a demonstration of it, right? Turns to you imploringly for heaven here and now. It has no hope, but you become its hope. And as its hope, do you become your own? The unforgiving mind must learn through your forgiveness that it has been saved from hell. And as you teach salvation, you will learn. Yet all your teaching and your learning will be not of you, but of the teacher, capital T, who, capital W, but of the teacher who was given you to show the way to you. So we've forgotten ourselves. That's a phrase that Gurdjieff uses. Gurdjieff is telling his students, don't forget yourself. You've forgotten yourself. Capital S. Today we practice learning to forgive. If you are willing, you can learn today to take the key to happiness and use it on your own behalf. We will devote 10 minutes in the morning and another 10 at night to learning how to give forgiveness and receive forgiveness too. The unforgiving mind does not believe that giving and receiving are the same. So one of the reasons I may not want to forgive, maybe, is because I don't think, because you're not going to forgive me back if we're in an argument or, we're mad at each other about something. If I forgive you, if I go first, and then what if you don't forgive me? That's not fair. And the Course in Miracles says, oh, it's perfectly fair because of the law of consciousness. As I forgive you, as I forgive situations, people, politicians, corruption, crime, as I forgive those things outside of myself, they're forgiven inside of myself. Because it's one point or another, I was that politician, right? In a previous life, in another dimension, on another timeline, I'm that guy, right? I'm that woman. I find myself in exactly that situation. And I'm trying to balance it out maybe from here. So if I forgive it here, I'm having an effect there, having an effect there, right? I'm the distribution of the love and the light is up to the Holy Spirit, and it is infinite. It is distributed throughout all time and space and beyond, through all dimensions, through all timelines, right? In the multiverse, da, da, da. So, right? There are many things that are not dreamt of in our philosophy. Yet, we will try to learn today that they are one through practicing forgiveness toward one whom you think of as an enemy and one whom you consider as a friend. And as you learn to see them both as one, we will extend the lesson to yourself and see that their escape includes yours. And so I would suggest going to read about this and see what it says. But the idea very quickly is that you think of someone who's an enemy, someone who's triggering me right now, someone who I'm not feeling good about, and you think of them and then surround them with light in your mind. And then after a few minutes of surrounding that person, that enemy, that troublemaker with light, then I pick a friend, someone whom I am on good terms with, someone who I love, and I do the same thing with them. I surround them with light in consciousness. I think about them and I surround them with light. Then I take those two, the enemy and the friend, and I merge them into one being, right? And then those two polar opposites, I bring them together. You see what's going on here? That whole spectrum from bad, not good, to good. Bring them together, bring it together, collapse. That's the time collapse, that's the energy collapse to the moment of now. Bring those two people together in our mind, and we surround them with light. And then the last move, 4 moves here. 1, 2, 3. Then the 4th move is bring it into me. So it's an exercise of oneness. My enemy, love thine enemies. My friend, anyone can love their friends, Jesus says in the Bible. Hey, anyone can do that. What about your enemy? So bring them together. Make the 2 one. Then surround them with light. Then make them one with yourself. So that's the exercise that is being offered today in the Course in Miracles. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. I will awaken from the dream that I am mortal, fallible, and full of sin, and know that I am the perfect Son of God. So that last move, bringing the enemy and the friend into my heart. Now, those 3 people, those 3 entities, those 3 energies are one, and I am the perfect Son of God. Because those people outside of me are just reflections of aspects within myself. Okay, so let's go to, that's an awesome lesson today, 121. I mean, incredible. So go check it out or go watch the replay. And, following that explanation, hit pause and do that exercise, and then continue on. If you're watching the replay, if you're watching the review, hit pause, do that exercise, and then come back. And now we're talking about the text, chapter 14, section 9, called the Reflection of Holiness. And again, this is an easy concept to understand. It's a concept I know you know. It's a concept talked about often in spiritual circles. It's the idea of reflection. It's the idea of a mirror or a smooth pond or lake in which we can see our reflection, or in which our mind reflects the mind of God, reflects heaven. Yes, Mary. Yeah. Great comment. Check out Mary's comment, everybody. I mean, basically, if you can't see the comments, you're watching the replay later. Mary says, I forgive all. Then I recall the wrongs. All times the feminine has been so tortured, not to mention. Yeah. Some of those Jungian writers, like, I don't remember the author of The Chalice and the Blade, but read The Chalice and the Blade, I think it's called. So she is a Jungian psychoanalyst, but a lot of those Jungian psychoanalysts that have written books, the idea is that the feminine withdrew, okay, just like the indigenous people, just like the Indians. So the Indians in North America and South America, okay, vibrationally, couldn't have been eliminated unless they decided to withdraw energetically. So they decided to withdraw into the invisible. So it looks like they got massacred and wiped out, but esoterically and from an inner, deep inner knowing, so their medicine men, their shamans, right, saw the future. They understood they were about to be swept from the planet. They understood it. They saw it. And they began to tell their people in all those tribes, right? Then energetically, spiritually, they withdrew. So if you read now Ken Carey, Return of the Bird Tribes, or man, he has another real good book. I think it's called The Third Millennium. But now he says also he's a channeler or a visionary or a prophet or a shaman. Ken Carey, I don't think he's with us in the body anymore, but he says now those energies are coming back. So the spirits and the souls that withdrew, that were the Native Americans in North and South America are reincarnating, are re-embodying themselves now. So you can look forward to that energetic expression coming forth now. And Ken Carey calls it the return of the bird tribes. Birds, right? Hawks, eagles that fly very high and that have incredible eyesight, right? You can see a mouse in a field from way up there. Are symbols of the spirit, of course. Icarus and Daedalus, right? Greek mythology, don't fly too close to the sun. Got to stay grounded. You can't get too into the spiritual stuff. You have to stay grounded. There has to be a balance. Because if you fly too close to the sun, the wax will melt your wings and you will plummet to earth. Because you're not paying attention. Don't rise out of your body so much that you can't drive the car, right? You have to stay balanced. I bet they circle your house, Mary. Mary says the hawks and the eagles. I saw an eagle. I saw a bald eagle. The bald eagles on the Mississippi River have made a huge comeback. So the bald eagles fish out of the Mississippi River, but I'm about, 45 minutes an hour east of the Mississippi River. I saw a bald eagle the other day, just flying across the golf course, flying down the road by the golf course. I couldn't believe it. It's like, wow, amazing. But they've made a big comeback. Okay, the reflection of holiness. The atonement does not make holy. You were created holy. It merely brings unholiness to holiness, or what you made to what you are. Bringing illusions to truth or the ego to God is the Holy Spirit's only function. Keep not your making from your Father. So a distinction between what we made or manufactured or made up. So it says, don't keep your making from your Father. Turn it over to the Holy Spirit. Let the Holy Spirit convert those illusions into the truth. Keep not your making from your Father, for hiding it has cost you knowledge of him and of yourself. The knowledge is safe, but where is your safety apart from it? If you don't know, and if you don't know you know, then the doubt creeps in, the distrust creeps in, right? The making of time to take the place of timelessness lay in the decision to be not as you are. Hamlet again, to be or not to be. It's interesting, right? A lot of people, a lot of my teachers at Northwestern, right? To be or not to be. Is Hamlet asking whether he should live or he should die? Or is he asking, should he embrace his spiritual consciousness or should he not? Should he become involved in the intrigues of the court or should he become holy? To be or not to be? And here, of course, says a decision to be not as you are. Not to be. To be or not to be? Should I be my higher self or should I be my lower self? Well, it's up to you. That's the decision. No one can make you do anything. No one can tell you anything. It's up to you. It's your decision. Eventually, you are going to have to decide. At that point, it's not really much of a decision. Total annihilation or perfect life, love, perfection. I don't know if that's really choice. The Course says that's not really a choice, but you will have to make it. That is your free will. The making of time to take the place of timelessness lay in the decision to be not as you are. Thus, truth was made past, and the present was dedicated to illusion, and the past too was changed and interposed between what always was and now. The past that you remember never was, and represents only the denial of what always was. Bringing the ego to God is but to bring error to truth, where it stands corrected, because it is the opposite of what it meets. It is undone, because the contradiction can no longer stand. How long can contradiction stand when its impossible nature is clearly revealed? Right? If I'm sitting in a chair, I can't be standing up. If I'm standing up, I can't be sitting in the chair. It's either one or the other. It's either the truth or an illusion, right? Okay, what disappears in light is not attacked. It merely vanishes because it is not true. Different realities are meaningless, for reality must be one. So when people say, well, my truth is, okay, all that is that's the ego, that's relativism. My truth. Well, there's only one truth. There's only one harmonization. It's what God created. And by releasing ourselves into that and accepting it, see, everything gets healed. All that tension in the mind and the heart, all that confusion, it all goes away. So once you kind of get on the right track and start moving down the track, you go, oh, wait a minute. Oneness is cool. It doesn't mean everybody's exactly the same. It means that there's an openness, a big enough expansiveness that everybody is included. Everybody can still do their thing, still be themselves. It's just that it's based on peace and love instead of division and hatred and fear and death. No, it's based on life and love and acceptance and joy. I mean, imagine that. Imagine a perfect creation. And then imagine we're here to create it. That's why we're here. Different realities are meaningless, for reality must be one. It cannot change with time or mood or chance. Its changelessness is what makes it real. This cannot be undone. Undoing is for unreality. Undoing, right? This cannot be undone. Reality cannot be undone. Reality stays the same. If it seems different, it's because I'm dreaming. It's because I've accepted an illusion. Undoing is for unreality. Undoing is for illusions. And this reality will do for you. Right? So that sort of sounds like vicarious atonement, right? Oh, I'll let Jesus do it for me. All I have to do is say Jesus did it for me, and Jesus will do it for me, and I'll be fine. Well, that's vicarious atonement, and sorry, Catholic Church and Christians, doesn't really work that way. You're going to have to put in the work. But reality, the truth, okay, operates by itself. Nature operates by itself. Okay? I'm not in charge of the seasons. You're not in charge of the seasons at a surface level. At a very deep level, okay, but not at a conscious level. And certainly, you can't make it winter if it's summer, right? Sorry, I almost said something political there. I don't think I'm going to say it. But Okay, nature operates by itself. My heart beats by itself. My lungs breathe by themselves. The autonomic nervous system. Instinct, it just operates, right? And if I can raise my consciousness enough, reality, and I can perceive it and begin to understand it and see it through vision, through the third eye, through the activation of the pineal gland, it doesn't just become seeing, then it becomes emerging and a blending. And then my life just flows. My life just runs itself in a positive fashion instead of a negative fashion, right? Because if you really think about it, your life has sort of run itself. It's just that maybe you haven't liked all the elements that were included, which Course in Miracles and many esoteric teachings says is just because I'm not aligned with the truth. I'm out of alignment. So if the front end of my car is out of alignment, the tires will be worn unevenly. I'll have trouble steering the car. This is all a metaphor if I'm out of alignment. Brakes won't work properly. And on and on and on. So, as a metaphor, if I'm out of alignment with the truth, with my true self, if I don't understand my true identity, if I don't really know who and what I am, well, then I get a life of disaster, disunity, troubles, right? But once I turn it around, once I start to seek, once I start to knock, once I start to hear and listen, the ship rights itself. And then it starts to run itself. When I was in my 20s, I worked in restaurants for 30 years. So I worked in hospitality for a very long time. But when I was in my 20s, and I was managing a restaurant, and it started to occur to me that the restaurant ran itself. I didn't really have to do anything. People showed up, their orders were taken, their food was cooked, it was brought to the table, they paid the bill. It all just kind of ran itself. I didn't have to do anything. I mean, I needed to be there and whatever, buy people desserts and buy them drinks and keep the waiters from punching each other and all that stuff, keep the cooks from chopping their fingers off, I mean, not keep them from it, but you know what I'm saying. But the whole place ran itself. I started to realize that, like, oh, this is just right. So the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, the autonomic system just runs itself, right? Nature, it looks like, just runs itself. Sun comes up, sun goes higher in the sky, spring starts, the leaves come back on the trees, the flowers start to bloom. Why is that happening? It's just, right? So the Eastern philosophies go, it's just happening. It's the dance of Leela. It's the dance of life. It's Brahma, Brahmani. The atonement is so gentle you need but whisper to it, and all its power will rush to your assistance and support. Little willingness, the Course says. My part in the whole thing is so minuscule that I'm not going to believe how much help I get metaphysically, invisibly, energetically, from within, from the invisible, from the unnameable, from the unknown. All the help I'll get, all the synchronicities that'll start, all the misfortune that will turn to fortune, that will turn to provision, that will start turning in my favor. I won't be able to believe it. All its power will rush to your assistance and support. You are not frail with God beside you. Yet without him, you are nothing. The atonement offers you God. The gift that you refused is held by him in you. The Holy Spirit holds it there for you. So the Holy Spirit doesn't forget. So there's a portion of us within ourselves that haven't forgotten. We can just remember where we put it. God has not left his altar. Those worshipers placed other gods upon it. The temple still is holy, for the presence that dwells within it is holiness. In the temple, holiness waits quietly for the return of them that love it. Presence knows they will return to purity and grace. The graciousness of God will take them gently in, cover all their sense of pain and loss with the immortal assurance of their Father's love. There, fear of death will be replaced with joy of life, for God is life and they abide in life. Life is as holy as the holiness by which it was created. The presence of holiness lives in everything that lives, for holiness created life and leaves not what it created holy as itself. So I am created in the image and likeness of the Father. I am the source. I am. So use your I am consciousness. Use your I am energy. Acknowledge it. Don't say I am not. Don't say I am poor. Say I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am all provision. Everything is provided for me in every form. Everything is a gift from God. I am thankful and grateful. Right? So start building up some momentum. The response of holiness to any form of error is always the same. There is no contradiction in what holiness calls forth. And I'm getting the 5-minute warning here. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, 5-minute warning. It's time to wrap it up. Anyway, I'm reading the last paragraph here. So thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for subscribing and following along. Thanks for being here at this live. The response of holiness to any form of error is always the same. There is no contradiction in what holiness calls forth. Its one response is healing, without regard for what is brought to it. Those who have learned to offer only healing because of the reflection of holiness in them are ready at last for heaven. There, holiness is not a reflection, but rather the actual condition of what was reflected to them here. So you become what's being reflected. You gaze, you look into, you envision holiness long enough, you become holiness. What we concentrate on, we become. God is no image, and his creations as part of him hold him in them in truth. They do not merely reflect truth, for they are truth. So communication becomes communion, right? So we're turning away from false communication, false idols, lies, deceptions, misinformation, disinformation, coming from within us, by the way, reflected outside of us, but the misinformation, the lies, the darkness is within us. We have to admit that, be honest with yourself. And we're turning away from that toward the truth. Then, as we turn, we begin to hear, the Holy Spirit starts to communicate with us. Oh, it starts to make sense. Oh, I start to feel better, more coherent, more integrated, more in alignment. Then the communication becomes communion or oneness or the atonement. So there is a process to it. but it ends up in unity consciousness, unification, oneness. So thanks again. Check out the YouTube channel, of course, at Steve O'C's over on YouTube. Thank you, Mary, for being here. Thank you for subscribing. And peace and blessings to y'all. That's all for today. Love you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.